we go. We're all set now.
Awesome.
Okay. Show us what you've got. Very nice.
Here, tilt the camera down so our viewers can...
Right. Very nice indeed.
And... hand me that light.
Here's the light. Show our viewers what's inside the brain cavity. I'll hold the skull if you want to do the light.
Okay.
Here you go. Can they see in there? You can see all the way in there into the brain membrane. And you can see the nasal cavity all the way in there. Right?
Uh-huh.
Good job. And you can see the teeth here are the teeth of an older deer as they're chipped and almost completely worn away. Now, what we've also discovered is the lower jaw of the deer. Teeth are the same, chipped and worn away. And if you'd like to show the front of this skull, it's actually missing its front teeth. This deer was probably near the end of its lifespan. This skull here has been completely stripped of all muscle tissue, eyes, and pretty much everything except for bone. We just recently removed the brain and spinal column. And let's see, what else have we got going on there?
Mostly just the brain, and there's a brain in the jar.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
We do have a brain in a jar, and we are right now in the process of boiling and bleaching the vertebrae that we removed from this skull. Right now, Dr. Grace here is in the process of removing the membrane on the inside of the skull. And what is it called, the part that separates the two hemispheres?
The corpus callosum.
And that's clearly visible inside this skull here. And we're trying to remove the membrane. Well, actually, I'm not. Dr. Grace is. I'm just the assistant. And I'll take this in here so we can take a look at the vertebrae while they are boiling. There we go. Very nice and white. And in the fridge, we have the brain that was removed from the skull right here, preserved in a nice jar. In addition to that, we also have the other soft tissue which was removed from the skull, including some muscle tissue, both eyes, and the majority of the soft tissue which surrounded the brain case and whatnot, perfectly preserved. This deer was accidentally killed when it wandered out in front of my car. We were only doing about 35-40 miles an hour, and it looked like there was something wrong with its hips, the rear hips, as it wandered in front of my car. I hit it, and it hobbled off, well, actually drug itself off into the woods, where we stopped and followed it to either A, make sure it was okay, or B, make sure and put it out of its misery. And when we found the deer, it was pretty much cut open from the sternum all the way back, and there were many bones sticking out of its hips, its pelvis, and its rear legs, and it was still alive, but I managed to go ahead and put it out of its misery by simply slitting its throat very quickly. We do have one other part that we saved and preserved. We saved a perfectly preserved deer hoof and lower leg. It was boiled, sterilized, dipped in bleach, and also cooked at around 150 degrees to make sure there was no moisture in it, so that it wouldn't mold or rot in any way. Once again, Dr. Grace's idea. While we were dissecting the head, we removed all the muscle tissue from the skull, and we also removed the 2 ears from the skull and dried them, well, boiled them in salt water and dried them. So we now have 2 dried ears from a deer. Oh, and that would be the cat that I stepped on. Let me pause this momentarily.